the hidden engine of human drive. Motivation has fascinated philosophers, scientists, and leaders for centuries. Why does one person wake up every morning with fire in their eyes, while another struggles to find the strength to even get out of bed? Why do some individuals overcome enormous obstacles and achieve greatness, while others give up at the first sign of difficulty? The answer lies not in luck or talent alone, but in understanding the science of motivation. Motivation is not some mysterious force reserved for a lucky few. It is a system, a process, a set of rules that govern how the human mind and body respond to challenges, goals, and rewards. When you learn these rules, you unlock the ability to stay driven every single day, even when life feels heavy. Imagine your brain as a car engine. Without fuel, it cannot run. Without proper maintenance, it breaks down. And without a clear destination, it simply circles without progress. Motivation is the fuel, the spark, and the direction. But unlike gasoline, motivation is not something you pour once and forget. It must be cultivated, renewed, and understood. The biology of motivation. At its core, motivation is a mix of biology and psychology. Neurotransmitters like dopamine and serotonin shape how much energy we feel toward a task. Dopamine, in particular, is often called the motivation molecule. Every time you anticipate a reward, dopamine is released. It creates that sense of excitement that pushes you forward. But here's the hidden truth. Dopamine is not about the reward itself. It's about the anticipation. The journey excites the brain more than the destination. This is why setting goals, breaking them down into steps, and celebrating small wins creates long-lasting motivation. It's science, not magic. The psychology of drive. Beyond biology, motivation is shaped by psychology, the stories we tell ourselves, the goals we set, and the environment we live in. Psychologists have long distinguished between intrinsic motivation, doing something because you love it, and extrinsic motivation, doing something for a reward or recognition. Both can be powerful, but intrinsic motivation is like a deep underground spring. It never runs dry. Ask yourself, what excites me so much that I would do it even if no one noticed? That is the fuel source you can always return to. The myth of constant motivation. One of the biggest lies society tells us is that highly successful people are motivated all the time. That is not true. Even Olympic athletes, CEOs, and world leaders wake up some days without the drive to continue. The difference is not that they feel motivated every day, it's that they understand how to generate motivation when it's missing. Think of motivation as a muscle. You don't wait until you feel strong to go to the gym. You go to the gym to become strong. Similarly, you don't wait for motivation to act. You act, and then motivation follows. Why rules matter. If you look closely at anyone who achieves great things, you will notice they follow certain patterns. These are not random. They are rules, mental habits, and psychological laws that guide them. In this series, we will uncover the 9 rules of motivation that will help you stay driven every single day. These rules are not abstract. They are backed by research in neuroscience, psychology, and real-life stories of people who refuse to quit. Each rule is like a key that unlocks a hidden chamber of energy inside you. By the end of this journey, you will not only understand motivation, you will know how to control it, create it, and sustain it, no matter your circumstances. A story to begin with. Let me take you to a small town in Kenya. A young boy named Eliud Kipchoge runs barefoot to school every morning, nearly 10 kilometers away. His family is poor and opportunities are scarce. Yet, he runs not because someone forces him, but because he loves it. Years later, this same boy becomes the first human to run a marathon in under 2 hours, a record once thought impossible. What kept him going? Not comfort, not money, but a set of inner rules about discipline, small steps, and never-ending belief in the power of consistency. Kipchoge often says, "Only the disciplined ones in life are free." Discipline, structure, and science, these are the foundations of true motivation. In the coming blocks, we will uncover the 9 rules of motivation, one by one. Each will be explained with science, illustrated with stories, and transformed into practical steps you can apply immediately. This is not just a book summary. It is a roadmap, a way to reprogram your brain to stay driven, no matter how heavy life feels. So let's begin. Rule number 1: the power of clarity. Why a clear goal creates endless energy. If motivation is the engine, then clarity is the ignition key. Without a clear direction, your brain wastes energy wandering between options, second guessing, and hesitating. But when your goal is crystal clear, your mind sharpens like a laser, and even ordinary actions suddenly carry power. The science behind clarity. Our brain is wired to save energy. It doesn't like confusion, uncertainty, or half decisions. In fact, neuroscience shows that ambiguity drains more energy than actual hard work. When you don't know exactly what to do, your brain burns fuel in constant analysis and doubt. This is why unclear goals lead to procrastination. But when you create clarity, I will write 500 words today, I will run 3 kilometers this evening, the brain relaxes. The path is obvious. Dopamine begins to flow because it anticipates completion. Clarity switches on motivation. Why vague goals fail? Most people set goals like, I want to get healthier. I want to be successful. I want to learn English. These are noble intentions, but they are too vague. The brain doesn't know where to start. It's like telling your GPS, take me somewhere good. Where should it go? Paris? A coffee shop? The moon? Now compare that with, I will go to the gym 3 times this week. I will save $200 this month. I will learn 20 new English words by Friday. Suddenly, the brain has a map. Motivation comes alive. The magic of micro goals. A fascinating study from Columbia University showed that people are more likely to follow through when they set micro goals instead of giant resolutions. Running a marathon feels overwhelming. Running for 5 minutes feels possible. Ironically, once you start the 5 minutes, you often end up running much longer. Motivation loves small victories. Each one triggers a dopamine release, which makes the next step easier. This is why breaking down goals is not weakness, it's smart psychology. Real life story: John's transformation. John, a 42-year-old accountant, always dreamed of writing a book. For 15 years, he told his friends, one day I'll write it. But the day never came. His dream was too vague, too far. Then one coach asked him a simple question: can you write 300 words today? John hesitated but agreed. The next day, another 300. Within 6 months, he had 65,000 words, a full manuscript. The difference wasn't sudden genius. It was clarity. He moved from someday to today. Practical steps to apply rule number 1. Define your target in one sentence. Instead of, I want to get fit, say, I will do 20 push-ups every morning. Make it measurable. If you can't measure it, your brain won't chase it. Numbers are fuel. Break it down into micro goals. Lose 10 kilograms becomes walk 20 minutes every evening. Use the power of deadlines. A goal without a timeline is a dream. Deadlines activate urgency. Write it down. Studies show that people who write their goals are 42% more likely to achieve them. The deeper lesson: clarity is not about being rigid. Life is unpredictable, and sometimes the path changes. But having clarity in the moment gives your brain a target, like a lighthouse guiding ships in the dark. Even if storms come, you still know which direction to move. Remember, motivation doesn't come from magic. It comes from knowing exactly what to do next. When your goals are clear, every small action becomes meaningful. And meaning is the deepest fuel of all. Rule number 2: the habit of starting small. Why tiny steps beat giant leaps. When people think about motivation, they often imagine a sudden explosion of energy, like lightning striking their brain and making them unstoppable. Movies show heroes waking up one morning, deciding to change their life, and then running marathons, building empires, or mastering new skills overnight. But in reality, motivation doesn't work like that. The greatest power lies in starting small. The psychology of small steps. The human brain is afraid of big, uncertain challenges. When you say, I will lose 20 kilograms, your brain immediately imagines the pain, the effort, and the sacrifices. The mountain looks too high, and fear takes over. But when you say, I will drink 1 glass of water before breakfast, or I will walk for 10 minutes after lunch, your brain relaxes. These steps feel achievable, almost too easy. That is exactly the point. Motivation is like a snowball. A small push gets it rolling, and soon it grows larger, unstoppable. The science of progress. In 2011, Harvard researchers Teresa Amabile and Stephen Kramer studied over 12,000 daily journal entries from workers. They discovered something powerful: the progress principle. The number one factor that kept people motivated at work wasn't money, recognition, or big promotions. It was the simple feeling of making progress every day. Even small wins, completing a report, solving a minor problem, learning one new word, created more motivation than anything else. The brain thrives on progress. This is why breaking down goals into tiny steps is not laziness, it is science-backed strategy. Real life story: Kaizen in Japan. In post-war Japan, industries faced enormous challenges. They had limited resources, weak infrastructure, and almost no global influence. Yet they rebuilt faster than anyone expected. Their secret? A philosophy called Kaizen, which means continuous small improvements. Instead of demanding giant leaps, Japanese companies focused on small daily progress. Fix one machine part. Improve one step in the process. Train one worker in a new skill. Over time, these tiny actions compounded into global excellence. Toyota, Sony, and Panasonic all rose from ashes using this principle. The same principle works for your personal life. If you want a better future, start with one small step today. Why small steps create big confidence. Another hidden benefit of starting small is psychological safety. When you succeed at something tiny, you build trust with yourself. You prove, I keep my promises. This creates a cycle of confidence. On the other hand, setting giant, unrealistic goals and failing repeatedly destroys confidence. You begin to believe you are incapable. That belief kills motivation more than failure itself. But when you set a goal like, I will read 2 pages today, and you do it, your brain records a victory. Tomorrow, you feel stronger. Soon, 2 pages become 20, and 20 become 200. Practical ways to apply rule number 2. Shrink the starting point. If you want to run, put on your shoes and step outside. That's it. If you want to write, open a blank page and type one sentence. Lower the resistance. Prepare your workout clothes the night before. Keep a book on your desk, not hidden in a drawer. Celebrate small wins. Finished one push-up? Smile. Finished one line of code? Clap for yourself. Recognition keeps the snowball rolling. Stack habits. Attach a new small habit to an existing one. Example: after brushing your teeth, do 5 squats. After making coffee, write one sentence in English. Think today, not forever. Don't say, I will exercise every day for a year. Say, I will exercise today. Tomorrow, repeat. A story of transformation. Sarah's 1% rule. Sarah, a young woman struggling with depression, once heard advice from her therapist: just do 1% better today. She was overwhelmed by the idea of fixing her entire life. But 1% sounded possible. So she started by making her bed. The next day, she took a shower. The day after that, she walked to the park. Weeks later, she began exercising lightly. Months later, she applied for her dream job. Her transformation wasn't sudden. It was the compounding effect of small daily steps. The deeper lesson: the mountain of your dreams cannot be climbed in one leap. It is conquered by thousands of small, steady steps. Motivation doesn't require you to be a hero today. It asks only for one action, however tiny. Do that, and the next will come easier. Remember, start small, but start now. Rule number 3, the energy equation. How body fuels mind. Motivation is not only about psychology. It is also deeply physical. The truth is simple: your brain cannot stay motivated if your body is drained. We live in a culture that glorifies hustle, working late, skipping sleep, drinking endless coffee. But while this may create short bursts of productivity, it destroys long-term motivation. A tired body produces a tired mind. If you want to stay driven every day, you must understand the energy equation, the science of energy and motivation. The brain, though small, is an energy-hungry organ. It consumes nearly 20% of your body's total energy. That means what you eat, how you rest, and how you move directly influence your ability to stay motivated. Lack of sleep lowers dopamine sensitivity, making even exciting tasks feel dull. Poor nutrition causes blood sugar crashes, draining focus. Lack of movement slows circulation, leaving your brain in a fog. Motivation is not about willpower alone. It's about energy management. The three pillars of physical energy. 1. Sleep, the ultimate recharge. During sleep, your brain cleanses toxins and restores neurotransmitters. Skipping sleep doesn't save time, it steals tomorrow's motivation. Studies show people who sleep less than 6 hours regularly have 40% lower productivity. Practical step: go to bed at the same time each night. Create a dark, quiet environment. Think of sleep not as wasted hours, but as an investment in motivation. 2. Nutrition. Fuel for the brain. Junk food may give temporary pleasure, but it causes long crashes. Complex carbs, proteins, and healthy fats provide stable energy for focus. Hydration matters too. Even 2% dehydration can lower cognitive performance. Practical step: replace one processed meal with whole foods daily. Drink water before coffee. Remember, your body is not a trash can. 3. Movement. Activating the system. Exercise releases endorphins and boosts dopamine. It improves blood flow to the brain, sharpening focus. Even short bursts, 10 minutes of walking, can reset your motivation. Practical step: don't aim for perfection. Aim for consistency. Walk, stretch, do push-ups, anything that signals movement. Real life story: the CEO who runs. Ariana Huffington, co-founder of the Huffington Post, once collapsed from exhaustion, breaking her cheekbone. She had been pushing herself without rest, convinced that success required sacrifice. That fall taught her the opposite: burnout kills motivation. Today, she runs a company called Thrive Global, promoting sleep, recovery, and sustainable energy. She discovered what science confirms: motivation thrives on health, not exhaustion. The hidden trap: caffeine and stimulants. Many people rely on coffee or energy drinks to stay motivated. While caffeine can sharpen focus, overuse backfires. It raises cortisol, stress hormone, disrupts sleep, and creates dependence. Motivation from caffeine is like a loan. You borrow energy from tomorrow. Eventually, the debt must be paid. The energy ritual. To stay driven, build daily rituals that fuel your energy. Morning, hydrate plus sunlight exposure. Midday, 5 to 10 minutes of movement. Evening, wind down routine for sleep. These rituals create a natural rhythm of energy. Motivation is not built in chaos, it thrives in routine. The deeper lesson: motivation is not just a mental trick. It is an equation. Motivation equals energy times clarity times action. Without energy, even the clearest goals feel heavy. But with energy, even ordinary tasks become exciting. Take care of your body, and your mind will follow. Fuel your brain, and your drive will never run dry. Rule number 4. The environment effect. Why surroundings shape your drive. Why surroundings shape your drive. Motivation is not only internal. It is deeply influenced by the environment around you. Your surroundings can either fuel your drive or slowly suffocate it. Many people blame themselves for lacking motivation, when in reality, their environment constantly pulls them backward. If you want to stay driven every day, you must learn how to design your environment for success. The science of environmental triggers. Our brains are incredibly sensitive to cues in the environment. Psychologists call this cue-dependent behavior. For example, if you walk into a kitchen and see cookies on the counter, you're more likely to eat them. If you see your running shoes by the door, you're more likely to exercise. Environment silently shapes your habits. Motivation is not just willpower. It is the path of least resistance. Why environment beats willpower? Most people try to fight temptation with willpower. But willpower is like a muscle. It gets tired. If your environment constantly tempts you, eventually you will give in. The secret is not to be stronger, it is to be smarter. Change your environment so that the easiest option is also the right one. Want to eat healthier? Keep fruit visible, hide junk food. Want to study English? Put a notebook on your desk, not your phone. Want to read more? Keep a book near your bed, not the remote. Environment makes the hard things easier and the easy things harder. Real life story: the Stanford Marshmallow Test. In the 1970s, psychologists ran a famous study with children. Each child was given a marshmallow and told, if you wait 15 minutes without eating this, you'll get 2 marshmallows. Some children resisted, others couldn't. Decades later, researchers discovered that those who resisted had better life outcomes. But here's the secret twist. Later experiments showed that children who succeeded weren't simply stronger, their environment helped them. Some covered the marshmallow with their hands. Others turned away or distracted themselves. By controlling their environment, they controlled their motivation. The people around you. Environment is not just physical. It's also social. Jim Rohn famously said, "You are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with." If your circle is negative, unmotivated, and constantly complaining, their energy will pull you down. But if your circle is ambitious, curious, and disciplined, their energy will lift you. This is why joining mastermind groups, study circles, or training communities is so powerful. Motivation multiplies in the right tribe. Practical steps to apply rule number 4. Audit your environment. Look around. Does your room inspire focus or distraction? Remove friction. Make bad habits harder. Delete distracting apps. Move unhealthy food out of sight. Add cues for good habits. Place a water bottle on your desk. Keep your journal where you can see it. Upgrade your circle. Spend more time with people who inspire action. Join communities aligned with your goals. Design default choices. Automate motivation. For example, subscribe to healthy food delivery. Schedule workouts with a partner. Block websites during work hours. A story of transformation. Lisa's workspace. Lisa was a freelancer who constantly battled procrastination. Her apartment was cluttered, her desk filled with distractions, and her phone buzzed every minute. She felt lazy and unmotivated. One day, she decided to redesign her environment. She cleaned her desk, removed her TV, installed website blockers, and created a dedicated workspace with only work tools. Within weeks, her productivity doubled. She realized she wasn't lazy, her environment was. By changing it, she unleashed her motivation. The deeper lesson: motivation is not about fighting battles every day. It's about designing a life where battles are unnecessary. When your environment supports your goals, motivation feels natural. You don't need constant discipline. The path forward becomes obvious. Remember, you don't rise to the level of your goals. You fall to the level of your environment. Rule number 5, the reward loop: how to keep motivation alive long term. Motivation is like fire. It can burn brightly, but without fuel, it fades. The secret to keeping it alive is building a reward loop, a system that constantly feeds your brain reasons to keep going. The science of rewards. Inside the brain, motivation is tied to dopamine, the neurotransmitter of anticipation. Every time you expect a reward, dopamine rises, pulling you forward. But when rewards never come, motivation dies. This is why small celebrations matter. It's not about buying yourself a car after a year of work. It's about giving your brain micro rewards for progress. Psychologists call this reinforcement. Behaviors that are rewarded get repeated. Behaviors that are ignored fade away. Why big rewards fail? Most people make the mistake of setting one huge reward at the very end of a long journey. For example, when I lose 20 kilograms, I'll buy new clothes. When I finish my degree, I'll celebrate. When I make $100,000, I'll take a vacation. These are nice, but too far away. The brain loses excitement if the reward is months or years away. Instead, break it down. When I lose 2 kilograms, I'll treat myself to a movie night. When I finish one course, I'll go out for dinner. When I reach $10,000, I'll buy a small gift. Rewards keep the fire alive. The power of immediate feedback. Video games are masters of motivation. Why? Because they give constant rewards: points, sounds, levels, achievements. Every small action feels meaningful. Life works the same way. When you track your habits, Celebrate your progress and measure growth. You create your own game system. This is why fitness trackers, language apps, and daily checklists are powerful. They give instant feedback. Real life story: the Marathon Journal. David, an amateur runner, struggled with motivation. Training for a marathon felt overwhelming. But instead of focusing on the 42 kilometers, he kept a journal. Every day he wrote his distance, time, and one positive note. The journal became his reward loop. Each page showed progress. Even on hard days, he could look back and see proof that he was improving. When race day came, David finished not just because of physical strength, but because his brain was hooked on progress. Types of rewards: internal rewards, sense of pride, confidence, peace. Example: I feel stronger after this workout. External rewards, physical or social benefits. Example: buying yourself new shoes, sharing success with friends. Symbolic rewards, visual signals of progress. Example: stickers, check marks, street counters. Use all three for maximum motivation. Practical steps to apply rule number 5: track progress visibly. Use a calendar, app, or notebook. Let your brain see victories. Reward small milestones. Don't wait until the finish line. Celebrate along the way. Use positive self-talk. After each small win, tell yourself, "Well done." Words matter. Make it playful. Turn progress into a game. Compete with yourself. Share victories. Tell a friend. Join a community. Social recognition amplifies rewards. The deeper lesson: motivation does not survive on discipline alone. It thrives on joy. When you build a reward loop, the journey itself becomes rewarding. You no longer chase only the finish line, you enjoy every step along the way. Remember, motivation is not about one big prize. It is about thousands of small sparks. Rule number 6: the power of identity. Becoming the person who never quits. Motivation is not just about goals, rewards, or habits. The deepest and most lasting source of motivation comes from identity, who you believe you are. When actions match your identity, they feel natural. When they don't, they feel forced. That is why the strongest motivation doesn't come from saying, "I want to do this," but from saying, "This is who I am." The psychology of identity. James Clear, author of Atomic Habits, explains this beautifully. Outcome-based goals: I want to run a marathon. Identity-based goals: I am a runner. The difference is huge. If your identity is, "I'm trying to quit smoking," the brain still labels you as a smoker. But if you say, "I am not a smoker," your identity shifts. Suddenly, rejecting a cigarette feels natural. Motivation becomes effortless when it aligns with your identity. The science behind identity shifts. Neuroscience shows that the brain seeks consistency. It wants your actions to align with your self-image. This is called cognitive dissonance theory. If you believe, "I'm disciplined," but you skip training, your brain feels tension. To reduce it, you either act differently or change your identity. The key is to choose an empowering identity and live up to it. Real-life story: Muhammad Ali's declaration. Muhammad Ali, one of the greatest boxers of all time, didn't just train hard. He declared his identity: "I am the greatest." Even before he became world champion, he repeated it constantly. His words shaped his identity, and his identity shaped his actions. Ali trained, fought, and lived as the greatest. The result? History remembers him exactly that way. How identity shapes habits. If your identity is, "I'm an athlete," skipping workouts feels wrong. If your identity is, "I'm a lifelong learner," reading becomes natural. If your identity is, "I'm disciplined," procrastination feels unnatural. Identity is the invisible script running your life. Practical steps to apply rule number 6. Decide who you want to be. Not, "I want to learn English." Instead, "I am an English speaker." Prove it with small wins. Each action is a vote for your identity. One workout equals one vote for being fit. Use affirmations carefully. Don't just say it, act it. Identity grows through proof. Reject conflicting labels. Stop calling yourself lazy, undisciplined, or not a morning person. These labels weaken you. Surround yourself with matching identities. Join groups where the desired identity is normal. Story of transformation. Emma the writer. Emma always wanted to write but kept saying, "I'm not really a writer." Every time she tried, self-doubt killed her motivation. One day, she decided to change her identity. She told herself, "I am a writer." At first, it felt fake. But she started small, 200 words a day. Each day was another vote for her identity. After 6 months, she had 100,000 words, her first novel. Her success came not from motivation tricks, but from identity. She became what she believed. The deeper lesson. Your identity is the ultimate engine of motivation. Habits may fail, rewards may fade, but identity endures. When you say, "I'm disciplined," "I'm strong," "I'm focused," and you prove it through small daily actions, motivation becomes automatic. You no longer ask, "Do I feel like it?" You simply act because that's who you are. Remember, the strongest force in human nature is the need to remain consistent with who we believe we are. We have explored clarity, small steps, energy, environment, rewards, and identity. These 6 rules already transform motivation. But there are 3 final rules, deeper, more powerful, that complete the system. Together, they ensure that motivation doesn't just survive for weeks or months, but lasts a lifetime. Rule number 7, the higher purpose. Why meaning fuels endless motivation? At the deepest level, motivation is about meaning. If your goals connect only to money, recognition, or comfort, motivation fades once those are achieved. But when your actions serve a higher purpose, motivation becomes unbreakable. The science of meaning. Psychologists Viktor Frankl and Martin Seligman both studied human resilience. Frankl, a Holocaust survivor, discovered that people who survived unimaginable suffering were those who found meaning in their pain. Seligman, the father of positive psychology, showed that long-term happiness comes not from pleasure, but from purpose. When you know why you do something, you can endure almost anyhow. Practical steps for higher purpose. Ask, who benefits from my success? Family, community, future generations. Connect daily tasks to a bigger mission. Example, learning English not only helps you, but may inspire your children. Write a personal mission statement. Even one sentence can fuel years of action. Story, the nurse who never quit. A young nurse named Maria worked in a poor village with little pay and constant challenges. Many asked why she didn't leave. Her answer, because these people need me. Her higher purpose gave her strength beyond money or recognition. It gave her infinite motivation. Rule number 8, the growth mindset. Why challenges multiply motivation instead of killing it? Carol Dweck's research at Stanford University revealed 2 mindsets. Fixed mindset, I am who I am. Failure means I'm not good enough. Growth mindset, I can improve. Failure means I'm learning. Those with a growth mindset stay motivated longer because every challenge becomes fuel, not a wall. The science of growth. When you adopt a growth mindset, your brain reacts differently to failure. Instead of shame, it releases dopamine as you learn new strategies. You literally turn mistakes into motivation. Practical steps for growth mindset. Replace "I can't do this" with "I can't do this yet." Treat mistakes as feedback, not final judgment. Keep a learning journal where you write what each failure taught you. Story, Edison's 1,000 attempts. Thomas Edison famously failed more than 1,000 times before inventing the light bulb. When asked why he didn't quit, he said, "I didn't fail 1,000 times." The light bulb was an invention with 1,000 steps. That is growth mindset in action. Motivation survived because failure wasn't an end, it was progress. Rule number 9, the momentum secret. Why action creates motivation, not the other way around. Most people wait for motivation to act. But science and experience prove the opposite. Action creates motivation. The physics of motivation. Newton's first law, objects in motion stay in motion. The same applies to human behavior. Once you start, it's easier to continue. This is why small actions, making your bed, writing one sentence, create momentum for bigger actions. Practical steps for momentum. Use the 5-minute rule. Tell yourself you'll work on a task for just 5 minutes. Most times, you'll continue longer. Stack wins early. Do small victories in the morning to create a chain of success. Never miss twice. Missing one workout or study session happens, but never let it happen 2 times in a row. Story: the domino effect. Physicist Lauren Whitehead showed that a small domino can knock over another domino 1.5x its size. Start with a tiny one, and within 13 steps, it can knock over something taller than the Eiffel Tower. Human motivation works the same. Small, consistent actions build momentum that conquers giants. Bringing it all together. Let's summarize the 9 rules of motivation. Clarity. Define your goals clearly. Start small. Break them into tiny steps. Energy. Fuel your body and brain. Environment. Design surroundings that help you. Reward loop. Celebrate small wins. Identity. Become the person who acts naturally. Higher purpose. Connect to meaning bigger than yourself. Growth mindset. See failures as steps forward. Momentum. Use action itself to create drive. Together, these rules form a complete system. Motivation is no longer a mystery or a temporary spark. It becomes a science, a strategy, a lifestyle. Final lesson. Motivation is not about waiting for the perfect day or the perfect mood. It's about mastering these 9 rules and building a life where staying driven becomes natural. Remember, motivation begins with clarity. It grows with small steps. It lasts through energy, rewards, and identity. And it becomes unstoppable when tied to purpose, growth, and momentum. You already have the tools inside you. The science is clear. The path is ready. Now it's your turn to act. Stay driven. Stay growing. Stay unstoppable.